Awesome.
You're doing it big now. Amazing. Okay. Let me see. And I just sent Jay the link. So we'll go ahead and start right now, Judy, if you would like, or whenever you get ready. Do a couple tests.
Whatever you'd like to do, just tell me.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to the tent talk. This is a Rockford's Milton Zeiss's tattoo tent, and we're going to be talking to some people, some tattoo artists such as Judy Parker today. I'd like to introduce her. She's going to be talking with us, as well as probably maybe one or two other people, Jay Brown as well. And she's, as everybody knows, a very accomplished tattoo artist as well as painter and just original OG in the game. So yeah, we'd like to actually thank you a lot for spending some time and helping us with this, man. This is awesome. I liked seeing your paintings yesterday for Halloween. That was super cool, super cool. So yeah, keep up the great work. And there's your little painting that I got from you. Original.
Hey, she looks good over there.
Oh, she's amazing. She's amazing. She's doing her thing. So yeah, we'll be asking a couple questions of you. I got a couple pretty easy questions for you, Judy.
Good.
Like maybe, what was one of your first tattoo machines that you tattooed with?
Well, I don't even know the name of it. I think it was homemade. Yeah. I have some tattoo machines. I have lots of tattoo machines, but I don't even think I have my original ones that I had. I might. I think I sold them during harder times. Here's some interesting ones here. Can you see those?
Yes, we can. Those are amazing.
I have a really big one there. And I have little tiny ones. I have a solid silver one. I have some that I got from prisoners.
Wow, those are cool. Those are cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. What is that big one? What was that big one?
It's just a big machine. I got it from G, you know, Mr. G. Here it is. You can look at it better if you want.
Wow, that is amazing.
It's 7 pounds, and I actually tattooed with it. I had to make a needle to fit it, though.
Nice.
I just made a dot.
Cool.
A big dot.
Cool. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Yeah, I think I'll share the Zoom link. Let me see, with Jay Brown. Tell him the number. Send him the magic number. He's asking for it. It'll be 916.
You have a nice colorful background there.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I painted the one painting with one of my coworkers, and yours is here. I got another one of my coworkers' paintings here. I got a Rick Walters. You know, he still hates you. I got that down there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I got the other one over here. Maybe I'll move my camera around a little bit later and show some of the stuff. I showed you some a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you've got loads of really good art in there. Whew.
Yeah, I like collecting from a lot of people. I really enjoy a vast, like a big or different. I like biomech, but I really like traditional and old school people. I like to collect art from people that I like too. That's one thing about me. If you come
too,
you'll see like most people that I really like, and they're real happy people, joyful people, friendly people, and just in general. It's just I like the people, so I follow their art, and they're good artists. So I just like collecting, and I always like to get a little 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of art from someone. So like I got one from you, so I'm sure I'll be adding on here, a couple till I get at least 3 of them. Once I get 3,
I couldn't afford art like you got. You got those nice big pieces. Yeah. I couldn't afford those, so I was trading people. So I was trading people these ovals.
Okay.
These are done by a lot of different artists. Wow. I couldn't get Gil Monty to give me one, which is amazing because I've done stuff. But look at all those. I got a slew of good ones.
Wow.
And I trade them for my ones. These are mine over here. But
Wow,
people
very cool.
quit trading for a while. Look at this great one of my cat. Wait a minute, can you? It's not. It's a scratch board.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's scratch board?
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at how detailed it is.
That's really
Yeah.
amazing.
That's pretty much my art collection from other people because I couldn't afford it.
Judy!
Hey,
No problem, Jay.
Hey, what's happening?
they're zipping it.
I think this is all.
I was showing him my art collection,
Oh, right on.
my ovals and whatnot.
Very nice.
Try to get this. I'm not on my cell phone, so I'm being stationary.
Ooh, you're good. I'm walking all around.
I know, it looks cool.
Nice.
His place looks great. He's got great colors. I'm showing some of my paintings and my ceiling.
Beautiful. God, look at that ceiling.
Wow, wow. Who did that ceiling? That killed it. Oh, that's
You know,
amazing.
painted that years ago. I don't think I could get up there now.
That's cool. That's super, super cool.
I just wanted to have a more colorful background.
Oh, that's it. Well, you sure did achieve that. You got it. You got a sailfish up there too, huh?
A what?
The fish? Did you paint the fish?
No, I caught that fish though. That's a fish I caught in Maui, or no, in Oahu.
Wow, that's an amazing catch. I bet that was fun, huh?
It was great.
Very cool.
And
Well,
then Billy Funk.
I'm gonna go ahead, Judy, and introduce you, Judy Parker, and I'll introduce Jay Brown from the Historical Tattoo Museum. And if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Jay, as well as maybe start off with telling us who you are, maybe introduce yourself, and then we'll go with Judy, and she can do a little introduction for herself.
Okay, so you're gonna put me on the spot first?
Yay.
There's only a couple other people listening.
Right? So I start now or what?
Yeah, go ahead.
And go.
Okay. Well, I'm Jay Brown from the Northwest Tattoo Museum. I've been tattooing for 34 years now. I'm part of the Rosini tattoo family, and RJ Rosini was my like my adopted dad, my tattoo dad. So he took me a long way in tattooing and all that. But about 10 years ago, we started the Northwest Tattoo Museum. Started from a collection of stuff that I had accumulated that was sitting in crates and boxes and all kinds of things like that. So I decided that one day it needed to be out into the public and actually be something that people could come and see and experience outside of just getting a tattoo or add to the experience of getting a tattoo. So I don't know. Do I need to give credentials? I got certificates and stuff, but we don't need to go there, I guess.
I'm sure we will in the future, though.
Right. Sure.
Judy had just, I believe, did a guest spot at your shop recently.
Yes.
Want to talk about that a little bit, Judy?
What?
Would you like to talk about the guest spot there?
Oh, yeah, it was great. He advertised for me and everything. I actually had customers and some pretty cool ones, too, that got mermaids.
Oh, I bet.
You got to stay longer next year.
Yeah. I bet that was fun, huh?
It was great.
What's one
And
of
we get to stay at his house.
What's one of the things that you really would like to tell one of the newer artists that's coming into the industry, Judy? You got any good advice for someone like a youngster that might be trying to get into it? Your one.
I would say
Philadelphia Eddie told me.
marry somebody that's in a business that has insurance. Like health insurance.
Right, huh?
Okay, marry up then. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably a good one.
Funny.
I didn't think about that. My wife, she said she got her a good one. I might be speaking for her though. But yeah, that's a good one. That's some pretty good advice. What about you, Jay?
Well, I don't know. Can I use an anecdote? Because I was just about when Judy was talking, I kind of remembered something that I was telling Jim Rosal, which is Jim Rosal's here visiting the museum, which Jim's been around forever, tattooing and building great machines. But anyways, the what I was going to say was I asked the very same question of Philadelphia Eddie back in 2010 for an interview for a tattoo magazine. I can't remember which one it was. And I said, Eddie, what advice would you have for somebody getting into the business these days? And he says, well, I'd tell them, reach in your pocket, give me all your money, go find a nice bridge and jump.
We're not being very positive.
Huh?
We're
So,
not being very positive.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like Judy said, marry up. No, you know what I would tell kids is draw a lot of flash.
Yeah.
Pay attention. You know, pay attention to the people that came before you in the past, because you know, you can always learn, you know, from I guess our mistakes or our accomplishments too. I mean, there's you always got to be open-minded about it, and other than that, you know, reach in your pocket, give me all your money, find a nice bridge and jump. I don't know. What would you say about it? Tell a young guy.
I would tell some young people, start off small, real small, so you don't get red ear and cry and bawl because you're so frustrated. Just start off small and work your way up in little increments, or you're gonna cry.
Truth.
That's funny. Uh-oh.
Where did you get some of your influences from when you first started tattooing? Like, was there somebody that like you really liked, or you sought out, like, wow, I really like this person's work or this style? Is there something like in that realm that you just gravitated towards?
Who are you asking?
Judy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Judy.
yes, I've always been inspired by lots and lots of artists. I'd go to conventions. That's probably where I was mostly seeing these magnificent artists from all walks of life, and was able to meet people like Jack Rudy and Vivine Lazanga and Pat Fish and Carrie Barba and all these other names. Thousands of them bombarded me, and I would just hide in my little booth and try not to be noticed too much. But I would watch their work, and it was just amazing to me.
Awesome. What about you, Jay?
Wow. I started out with a biker carny tattooer, so that definitely wasn't my influence. But I really looked up to guys like, I would say guys like Jack Rudy, Brian Everett. You know, I really dug a lot of the old school guys, a lot of real traditional folks like Philadelphia Eddie.
Definitely.
Yeah, Eddie was a big influence in my life. RJ Rosini, you know, when he adopted me, I guess he changed a lot of things. Like Judy said, I started going to conventions, got to actually stand over the shoulders of some of these people that were the greats, and actually you know, learn by watching. you know, and then in between the trial by fire that I got by getting thrown under the bus, here you're going to work this tattoo convention. But every free minute that I got, I would, you know, stand over somebody's shoulder, or even if they were just the guy in the booth next door, kind of thing. So I guess my influence is, you know, everybody really kind of influenced things along the way. Everybody's had a little piece, you know.
That's why you have the that's why you have all the history there, huh?
Oh yeah, there we go. Now I can hear you. Yeah, the list is limitless. The influences.
Cool, man. Wow. What was some memorable conventions that you had been to, Judy? And then of course Jay. But what are some memorable conventions, Judy?
Well, I've had lots of great different ones all over the country, from Florida to New York to Hollywood Palladium, the Ink Slingers Ball, that was always neat. And the Bahia had one here in San Diego, that was great, that Dennis put on. And of course, New Orleans, how can you beat that? All those
Voodoo.
Great times that we had together, and you get a lot of time to chit chat with each other. Lyle Tuttle was always there, and
I got a picture of Lyle smoking a joint upstairs.
Yeah, all the people that we enjoyed so much in the camaraderie, it was great. And they taught us a lot of things and told us a lot of great stories. Stanley Mouskowitz and the Florida convention that was the girls' convention where they let guys in too. It was a great time, and I don't know if we'll ever have that again. I hope. Troy Temple's trying to keep it going. Could be good.
Yeah. What about you, Jay? You got a significant event that you can maybe share a story with?
I mean, God, I could share some. Well, I mean, the like as far as favorite conventions, where I can say hands down, the tattoo tours are great. All of the shows that Eddie did, I mean, those were an absolute blast. There was a lot of fun in those. I had a lot of fun at a little convention called Ink Travelers that was in Vancouver, Washington, and that was a real good time every year. The bar on the restaurant looked like the deck of a ship, and it had the masts and all the sails and everything like that. And it was really a cool deal. It was right on the Columbia River, and that was a really neat show because you kind of felt like a pirate on the deck. So that one had a lot of color to it, and it was a little different. You know, it's too bad that the actual convention floor wasn't where the masts and the sails and all the rigging and all that stuff. That was the bar and the restaurant. But you still got to go get to the bar and get tuned up like a pirate and raise a couple of sails. But you know, and national was always was a fun convention. Voodoo, New Orleans, like Judy said, there's some great stories I could tell about there. Actually, I could probably, they're all dead. So except for me and Cherokee Chuck, and I think one other guy. One night we got drinking and we got done on the floor, and they started closing the bar down and everything. And so it was Cherokee Chuck, Lyle Tuttle, Philadelphia Eddie, Rosini, myself, and another guy named Jimbo. And so we went back to the room for a little break, and the decision was made, we're going to go back to the upstairs to the bar. And so we go back up there, and Cherokee Chuck shimmies up over the top of the gate there, and he jimmies the lock open and slides it open, and so everybody goes in, and Chuck goes behind the bar and starts bartending, and Lyle and everybody are sitting there telling stories, and they start lighting joints, and we're doing all kinds of other fun stuff. I don't know if it should be, but like I said, everybody's gone. So, lines of cocaine that long and whatnot. But anyways, and so the bartender, the woman who was running the deal, she was back doing her backstock and all her books and whatnot. And so she came out and actually like caught everybody in the act. And she was like, okay. And all of a sudden, Eddie reaches into his pocket and he slaps $100 bill on the table, and RJ takes one out and slaps it on the table, and Lyle reaches into his and slaps it on the table, and she goes, okay, well, make sure you don't drink too much and you don't cause a mess and all that. And she let us go and have a party for the rest of the night. And as Eddie told it once, after she had gone, Lyle reached up and slid his back into his pocket.
No doubt.
I don't know. There's a fun story for I don't know, for one of them, I guess.
Jay,
We did some crazy shit back in the day.
would you like to introduce yourself and maybe tell the same if you got a story or something you'd like to share with us?
Who's that?
Jim.
Oh, me?
Friend right next to you. Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
He's
Sure.
like, what? Don't put me in the spot. You
Sure,
wanna
my name.
introduce yourself and then maybe tell us a little story or a little something?
Sure, my name's Jim Rosal. Been tattooing since 79, 80, and really just a quiet person, way off the path from everybody. But I remember that first tattoo magazine, that black one, and it showed all y'all the first best 10 people or whatever, and just looked up to all you guys, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I knew I had to have something to bring to the table. So I worked really hard on trying to make good tattoo machines, and I happened to get to use Walt Daly's Pete Roger machines. He said, don't take them apart, man. Just feel them, use them, look at them. I know you're a good craftsman. Try to copy them. I did so. So I did a good job. Walt was like, wow, all right, you did it. And you know what? You really got some here. Can you duplicate it? Can you keep that consistent? And I'm like, yeah. And I did. And one time he asked, he said, hey, you and Jenny want to come with me to Frisco and watch Eddie Deutsch do my whole back? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, bring a bunch of your machines with you. I guarantee you they're going to buy them. So I had something to bring to the table, and pretty much that's how I got in with everybody. It was, the greats from the 80s. And I don't know, that's my story. Machines, and just fell into this tattooing as a kid in 79. But back then it was all, hand poke, homemade machines. By 1980, real machines, 2 Supremes from Huck. And by 83, made my first tattoo shop in the valley, in the Yakima Valley in 83. After that, it's just, I don't know, just kept trying and trying to be like the people I look up to, which are all you guys.
That's amazing, man. Amazing story. Yeah.
Not me, I'm a bad influence. Don't look up to me. I got nothing good to add.
Yeah, that's about it. I guess there's some stories out there in some magazines. I'm sure some of you have seen them, but basically that's it. Just
You
fell
gotta have a
into
good
it.
one, right?
Huh?
You gotta have a good convention story, huh?
No, I actually never really done any conventions. I went to them, but my friends always said, just sit here, sit there. I'll help you pedal your machines. I went to a lot of them. I went to New York a lot to pedal to the very best that I thought. And people like Juan Puente, I'm not going to name drop, but a lot of names, a lot of people we all have to really help me out. And I am like really happy about that. And just makes me feel good. The people you look up to now like what you do.
Yeah. And back then, that's how you got your good machines. You'd go to a convention and you'd see someone hanging out that had some really nice machines, and lo and behold,
Yep.
there you are.
I even sold them I'm gonna name drop one
Yeah,
person.
go ahead, brother. That's why we're here.
I mean, there's a story about it in some of these magazines like Tattoo Artists. Even Ed Hardy bought a couple. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's like, wow. I remember when I was there one time and Ed walks in and Eddie goes, hey, Ed, check these things out. He just rolls his eyes. Oh, those things again. And Eddie goes, no, come look at these for reals. It's something. And Ed looks at him. He feels the tension and he goes, one moment, and he puts them down and he walks back to his office, comes back with 2 rain buckets full of machines. One bucket full of Colonel Todd's and a bunch of old classics like that, dumps them out. And then he has a bucket that just says PER on it, just a full bucket of them, dumps them out. And he just picks them up, feels them, looks at mine, and he goes, how much you want for them? And at the time I said $350. And he said, how about a trade? And I'm like, in a split second, I was like, yes, no wait, and I can say he's got him. And then I was like, but in a split second, I was like, no. If I'm really good and I really got the goods, he's gonna pay for them. And I go,
No, I
no.
would have traded them.
I go, no,
The
Ed.
one from the PR bucket.
I go, no,
Yeah.
Ed. I go, no, Ed. I want the money. And then he gave me this hard look, and a hawk eye went up like the Rock. And then I seen all the guys, you know, Lehigh and Whitehead, all those guys, all behind, like, oh, you blew it. And but I kept my eyes on him, and I remembered something Walt Daly told me: hypnotize, and they will follow. I kept my beady eyes on his beady eyes and meant it. I looked into his soul. I go, no, you're gonna pay for it, Ed. And like a gunslinger out of my peripherals, I seen him reach for his front pocket, not the back pocket. He reached for the front pocket. He pulled out the real wad. And that Hawkeye went down, the other one, and he just flipped it out. And in front of Ed, I looked past Ed, and I went to Whitehead and all of them and went, fuck you. Ed looked at me again, but then he got it. He knew I was flipping off the workers. That's one of my best stories.
That's cool.
Always tell me if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit.
Yeah, I just had to see. I was taking a
you
gamble,
did
but
great,
that helped
man.
launch me selling my machines.
Yeah.
That and just giving it 110 on every one of them. Even at 55 years old, I still give it 110. And I mean, you look at my site and it's pure work.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
10 to 15 hours a day, every day, even at 55.
Yeah, that's the grind right there.
Yep, and I've been doing it nonstop since I was a kid. I was one of those kids that had to be working, playing, or entertained from the time I woke up to the time I pass out at midnight.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. Yeah,
Sounds like a lot of us.
yeah.
Right.
Familiar.
Hell, you know, I forget what the question was, but somebody asked me a question today, and I said, I'll tell you what tattooing is. Tattooing is the savior to all us misfits and dum-dums.
You said that earlier
Yeah.
to Duffy.
Yep. It's true. It saved
Kaiser
me.
tattoo. Yeah.
Judy.
Yes.
Who do you have, or who have you been tattooed by? Do you have anybody that you've been tattooed by that you want to share with us?
Carrie Barba and
Oh yeah, that's
Corey Miller, Corey Kruger, and don't even tell me, Corey Norris and Rich Ives.
Did
One
you?
just like
very
yours.
nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay?
Tattooed by? Okay, well, let's see.
The list is long.
The list is long. Well, I've been tattooed by a bunch of people that everybody's never heard of. In the middle of the night at a convention, drunk. Who knows that? Oh no. I've got some really good pieces though. I've had Guy Atchison do a gesture in here. Paul Booth's tattooed me. Judy's tattooed me.
Cried like a little girl. Just kidding.
Was a big baby. God, the guy John Monk did a great big piece on my chest. He's probably known or maybe not known, but he's I actually got him into tattooing. Gotta look around. Like I said, bunch of people in the middle of the night. So yeah, it's mostly my friends that tattooed me, really. I mean, Dave Watt did a really nice piece on me. Yeah, I got a nice piece back here that Dave Watt did, I guess, like that. In 1993 at Chicago tattoo tour. RJ gave me a minute to actually go get tattooed for 2.5 hours like this. So Chris Trevino did a nice big piece on me. That was nice, but
Chris forever.
yeah, I can't show that one because it's underneath my prosthetic leg, so there's no getting to that one. But and then it like I said, there's mostly people that I've met along the way. I never really had a big plan, so it's a lot of people that I just worked with over time, and people that in the middle of the night after the convention or whatever. So I don't know. I'm trying to think. I can't even.
Is there anybody that you'd like to still collect from?
Oh, a lot of people.
Yeah.
I need a bigger piece from Judy. We've known each other for what, 25 some odd years, and I got a tattoo about that big. When you're on your she was ready to leave, she was packing up her equipment, and I said, nope, you got to tattoo me. Yeah,
I don't even remember what it was.
25 years, and you got to tattoo me, and you're kind of like, damn it, because you tattooed that day. That was like a busy day, and I picked out that you'd given me that set of flash that had the real cool leopard head, and it had the lions and all that, had a bunch of animals, and then it had these little monkeys.
Oh yeah, the monkey.
I had to do a little monkey on a open space that I have right there. But
and I did a fat unicorn on your daughter.
My daughter, who's coming back to finish her apprentice, start to put her last couple of months in, and
that's wonderful.
Get into the skin, and
Did she get your station?
Yeah, she'll get to, yeah. Yep. Because with every new head injury, I get a little more drool running out. So somebody's
gonna. Right.
Hey, there's this guy right there. How are you doing, guy?
Oh, hey. Doing good. I make sure I've got sound. Hey, yeah, I've got sound. What's up, everyone?
Welcome.
How's it going?
Cheers. Yeah, you guys were talking about who you collected from, and like at conventions and that sort of thing. And man, what a story it is for each of us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had one done. I think it was 1994, and I was on my way to a convention somewhere. And I used to take trains back then, and I can't remember where the convention was that I wanted to get a tattoo by you, and you were booked solid, so I gave you a deposit and everything, and we set the date, and it happened to be, I don't know if I was going to AmJam or somewhere, so I was taking the train, and I don't know if you remember this, and we got off of the train, and we jumped in a cab, and we hauled ass to get there to your shop so I could get to the appointment, and then you tattooed me for a couple hours, about 2.5 hours, and then it was like time was up, and it was like, oh shit, and we jumped in the cab, and we're like pushing the cab.
What did I do on you?
You did a well, I don't know if the camera even shows it well enough, but you did a gesture.
Hard to see.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
It's on me, yeah.
Yeah, Rob sent me a picture of that recently. Yeah. Right on. That's
yeah, it's still there. It's still there. There was, it was AmJam, because we got to AmJam, and I was, we wore out from being on the train and everything. So we're sitting in the hot tub, and I'm keeping my arm out because I don't want that hot tub water on my arm. And this old crusty biker tattooer jumps into the deal and he's like, "Oh, new ink on." I said, yeah, I just got this done by Guy Atchison. And he goes, "Oh, well, you need hot water to heal that." And I said, no, you need hot water. I'm like, "No, I know how to heal this. It's fine." And he goes, "No, you need hot water." And he splashes a big old splash of hot brominated water and on the tattoo. And oh God, it burned like hell. And, and I wanted to hit the old dude, but he was, he was older. And I was just like, "You jerk."
We're the old ones.
Yeah.
Great. Something. How you doing, Judy?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Oh, can't complain. This year has been probably a little bit less horrible for me than it's been for a lot of people, just because, we're already kind of recluses out here, and we were already homeschooling and, all these other things that other people had to catch up with. But we've been able to stay in touch with a lot of people in the tattoo community, just like through electronic means, which isn't quite the same, but it sure is better than nothing.
Yep, you're more savvy, you young people.
Young people, yeah. Oh,
I can
man.
barely get on this Zoom thing.
Yeah, once you got the app, it'll be like a one click sort of thing to get on live. But yeah, it's once you've done it a couple of times, it's easy. This was confusing for us at first. We spent a whole summer actually completely stumbling and having echo problems and having like major technical problems in front of 1,000 people and good stuff like that. So at this point, we're a little bit smoother with it, thankfully.
Hey, well, I'll put you on the spot and I'll say, "Hey, look at my collection right here. My 5x7 ovals that I've traded with tattoo artists. I've got quite a collection, but I got no Guy Aitchison."
You need a 5x7 oval. I love painting ovals and circles and shapes like that.
Well, come on. I'll trade it.
Are those on, what are they on, little panels or what are they on?
No, they're 5x7 ovals that you get at Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yep. I might even have one of those in a drawer somewhere.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Oh.
And I'll paint you anything you want.
Okay, yeah, I love the idea. Anything I want, eh?
That's
Man,
the way that I get. That's the way that I get my trades. And I couldn't get. Gosh darn if I couldn't get Gilmani to paint me one of them skulls.
Yeah.
I've asked him for 2 years.
Well, I tell you what, I'd like to do a sea turtle sort of in my style with my whole environment kind of thing. And I'd love to see you do a sea turtle, with coral and stuff in the Judy Parker style. And I think that'd be a great swap.
Okay, you're on. I'll put you on the spot this time.
He does too.
Yeah.
He'll hold you to it.
I've got one of the days.
Maybe I'll live stream when I do it.
I just ran and got one of yours, Judy.
Oh
yeah. Nice.
That's
Judy, let's host a paint party sometime, like in a couple of weeks.
Whenever you like to. That's
we'll paint our sea turtles, and we'll invite other people to paint ovals or whatever they want. We've been doing this a couple times a month. It's been fun.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll do that. And Rob was describing the live stream that you've been doing. He says that he's been learning a lot, because Rob has actually been a great student of painting in the time I've known him. He's really been, he's gone from zero to, really kind of having a good solid grip on it. And so, so he's absorbing it like a sponge.
Well, I don't really have any professional training. I just paint for fun.
Yeah, that's the best thing. That's the very best thing. And when you paint for fun, you're gonna have some kind of idea of what some of your tricks are and things like that. And well,
sure.
We all are able to chit chat about these things, and I think it just makes us all a little bit richer.
Yeah.
I was just watching this movie the other day. It's like this documentary about mushrooms, but they were talking about amateurs, right? Now, what's an amateur? Now, obviously, we're not amateur tattooers, but I am an amateur publisher, right? Even though I've sold thousands of books, just because I haven't gone through the normal channels. And you know what I mean? In some ways, like in terms of fine art degrees and things like that, especially us older people, like now there's a lot of tattooers with actual fine art degrees, you know.
Yes.
You know, we had to kind of just figure it out. We knew what we liked. We collected books because back then that's all you had. You know, had the bookshelf of all your favorite illustrators and
I still have slews of books.
oh yeah, same here. We don't buy as many anymore, but we still look at them. And now that we've got a 9-year-old artist in the house, she loves them. And so I'm glad that it's not just all, you know, Google searches. You know, it's not nearly the same.
It's true.
I got a huge Google search. It's called Flash.
Yeah, exactly.
It's better
We
than
used to have tons
Pinterest.
of that. I don't have but a few racks of Flash in my lobby anymore. And that's just for because I have these nice Flash racks.
Is it all
Got
your
to do
stuff?
something with them.
Huh?
Is it all your Flash?
Oh, no.
No?
It would be nice if I had more, but I could never afford Flash when I first started out. So that's why I made Flash, is because I couldn't afford it. And people would come in and say, well, I want I don't know, a bear or something, and I would have to come up with it. So that's why I did it. But I have these nice racks here. See, I got a nice rack. But
See?
these right here are so nice because they're made out of metal and they're heavy duty and they go up to the ceiling to the floor. See, I got some nice Rand Johnson there. Am I showing you properly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
I got, you know, I've got some other ones. I like Rand Johnson a lot. But I've got some Jack Rudy, of course. There's some of mine in
I
there.
hope that hasn't been on us the whole time. We're sitting here
Here's my Jack Rudy.
staring
Somebody's
off in our
stolen.
face.
Oh, there it is. See, I got my Jack Rudy.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, I haven't been in a shop with Flash in a long time, but the shop that I, you know, was brought up in, man, we had a great collection. I had to color a lot. So, like, I had to color a set of Carrie's Flash. That was one of my first assignments. I was like, man, this stuff is so well drawn. I don't want to mess it up. Had a bunch of yellow Flash I had to color. Cliff Raven, his stuff is amazing, you know. And in fact, like the way that I shade to this day is still, you know, rooted in studying that stuff. We had some of Jack's Flash, and when I did my own first set of Flash, I totally ripped him off. You know, but I showed it to him, and I said, "Hey, man, I hope you don't mind. I totally ripped you off." And he's like, "Yep, you sure did." But yeah, man, that was such a, you know, I didn't have an art education. I'd done a bunch of album covers at the time, right? That was what I did
That's
before.
cool.
And perfectly amateur at that too, you know, and it was for like heavy metal bands and punk rock bands, so it could be a little bit rough around the edges. But man, you know, I look at people coming in now with full art education, and part of me is jealous, but part of me is happy that, you know, some of us had to come at it from our weird angles and come up with our own ways, right?
Which Flash?
Everybody's stuck there. Oh, is Judy still going through Flash?
No, I'm just walking around because sitting still is hard for me.
Yeah, it's stealing.
You're giving us a shop tour.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
there we go.
There's a nice fan, and then
Is
there's
that your biggest fan?
That's my biggest fan. There's my ship.
All right.
We've had a lot of experiences being here in the ghetto. One time a car drove in right there.
Oh, nice.
She's had some real.
It's really happened.
Has the homeless problem gotten better, or
Yeah, we have lots of homeless.
did you ever hook a chain to that bumper of that one car and hook it to the deal like I suggested?
That's the next door neighbor's nephew, and I put a note on the door and said, "Hey, we need that. That's not a good place to park. People climb
Right.
up into your car to get onto our roof."
Sorry, I chimed in with that one.
But here in the ghetto, we've been robbed, and we've had all kinds of interesting characters. It's kind of interesting having the, what do you call it? The COVID thing. I mean, because before we were pretty restrictive anyway on letting people come in here, but now they don't get to come in here at all unless they, call.
Those are the poster rack kind of flash racks.
What?
Oh, I was just saying you got the poster rack kind of flash racks.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have those
nice.
custom
You're
made.
way up. Look at that.
Yeah,
They go all the way to the ground and all the way to the ceiling. You
Those
know,
are
I
great.
had that.
Where's she at?
that's her shop,
Where?
San Diego.
Oh, really?
That was so I could be behind the counter and still shoot them
Right?
at the
Well,
door. See? Boom.
Yeah. You got to be able to do that, I guess,
I-
in those rough and tumble areas.
Almost every interview I've ever done.
We don't have to shoot anybody.
Yeah. People always ask, like, in every interview, like, what's the craziest experience you've had in a shop or whatever? And I always think, man, I don't really have a good one, but, and I think that, well, I actually do have one, but it wasn't crazy at the time, right? So I'm tattooing, and I'm in this windowless room, and I was there like 16 hours a day, and it's like 4 a.m, and got music cranking, and it's like weed smoke filled room, and it's buzzing away, and finally we wrap up for the night, and I go out and unlock the front gate, and there is a still smoldering, burned out car in front of the shop. And I look up and down the street, and there's about 40 more of them. And there's broken glass everywhere. And there's, the blinking emergency lights. And I'm like, what? The entire street was just devastated because the Chicago Bulls had just won the championship. And
Oh, yeah.
I had been in the
Burn
back
car
room this
for
entire
that.
time. The other car was in front of my shop going, right? I'm back there like, yeah, it's just buzzing away. That's my craziest shop experience.
That's a good one.
Is the car yours, or you have better ones than that?
Just robbery.
Oh, that's horrible. That's actually not the kind of crazy that anyone wants.
Trying to think.
I lived through it. It was a long time ago.
I got a ton of them.
Now they're more afraid of me.
Good.
Stay long enough, and the stories spread, right?
That's
True.
it. That's it. Oh man, crazy times. We all gotta have.
Just putting a 357 to the back of this dude's head for throwing a fork through the window while we were working.
Huh?
What year did you start tattooing? Do you remember?
78.
78?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Jay?
Huh?
Jay, what year did you start?
1986.
Wow. Nice. Yeah, 88 here.
Yeah.
I got in.
You guys both smoke me.
What about
Doesn't
you?
matter how long you've been doing stuff.
No. When did you start?
Who?
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah.
Started in 1979 and made my first shop in 83.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you and Judy were added at a very key time in history. The boom hadn't happened yet. It was ready to, and we had people like Jack and Ed Hardy starting to really sort of come out of the woodwork. But man, yeah, it must have been a real interesting vibe at the time.
It was fun. It was fun. It was just like they say, it was magical. It was something exotic. It was, I don't know. It was just something new. It was cool to grow up in that time because we weren't reruns. Everything was new.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of new happening now, but it's so overwhelming in a way. There's so much of it that it's it's enough to make your head swim, and you can't keep track of everybody anymore. There's just too many of them.
Yeah, I remember looking up to only remember looking up to maybe 6 or 7, maybe 10 people out of the whole business. It was I don't know, Dutchman, Ed Hardy, Walt Daly. Remember that magazine, the 10 best or whatever back in the day? It was just a few people. It wasn't the whole quadrillion world.
Yeah. It was there was 50 booths at the convention, and each of those booths were filled with like the tattoo tours and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
That was 100 people that was really like people to look up to, and people that, like you said, or like Jim said, whereas in today it's like there's a gajillion of them, and
they're
Don't get me
amazing.
wrong, I still love it. I still love it and think it's great. I'm still hard at it at 70 or at 55. I'm still crazy for it.
Look, he's already in his 70s.
that's how crazy it got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm psyched too. It's not lost its magic as far as my experience goes. It's just way different, and
Yeah.
I don't want to look back at the days when Michelle and I were doing a convention a month, and there was this sense of family, and I want to. Of course, it was a great
It was
night.
cool.
It was a beautiful period of time, but I don't want to look back and say, well, that was the only time that was any good, and now that it's changed, it's crap, and of course there have been all kinds of like positives and negatives, right? But I think the positives are clearly outweighing the negatives, when you just look at the success of our art form. I mean, first 2008 and now COVID, we've proved twice that when no other industry can poke its head out of water, people still want tattoos. It's a crazy.
Dude, I haven't missed one day during all of this. Even the main 3 months that I was forced to lock down in the middle of my shop, 10, 15-hour days. I did double shifts.
Wow.
This stuff that's happening, it really sucks, but at the same time, business-wise, it's one of the best years I've had.
Crazy, right? And suppliers will tell you the same thing.
That's mind-blowing. That's mind-blowing. I asked somebody that was supplier recently how's business, and they, and not one that supplies gloves either. So
You having trouble getting gloves too?
No, I got smart. I stocked up. I got with a medical supplier, and I got whatever.
I've been going to other outlets where you buy hardware and stuff and getting gloves that the mechanics use. They're strong and they got supplies of it. I just go in places like that and buy it up.
Oh.
Back when I started tattooing, we had to go to little like a little hardware store to buy our parts because there wasn't any supply companies that we knew of. So it's getting back to those days, I guess, where you have to figure out how to build your things that you need anyway, but I can't do gloves.
Yeah, they're running out of those. Or
Yeah.
At least they say they are.
Well, we go back to tattooing the old way and be careful.
Yeah. Hey, there's always vinyl. We could always go back to vinyl gloves. Did anybody tattoo with those awful things?
I think I used them on an emergency every now and then, like, if I was somewhere real far away.
Hand falling out.
Too
of
bad
the
we
glove
couldn't
while you're
rob the
tattooing.
gas stations for their
Exactly, like the gas station
towels and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going in with a big old coat and stealing boxes of Kleenexes so I could tat.
Those were the real days.
I remember going into the store, me and my little cousins, man, ripping off the Indian ink, sewing needles, thread, all that.
Wow.
Didn't you and Mike Powell used to steal stuff from hotel rooms at conventions, Judy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Confirm or deny.
Yeah.
That was it was fun watching them sometimes though, because they'd have a whole cart full of stuff. When did you guys have a competition who could get the most?
We actually did.
Yes. I know. I think it was one year, it was in Memphis, I think. And I watched, it was either you or Mikey going down the hall with a cart full of stuff from the hotel rooms.
I won that, by the way.
Did you?
So, hey, I just wanted to pop in and say, hey, I actually have to cut out, but I'm hoping to join you guys again here on Rob's show. This is, I love talking history, and, even though I only got to participate in the last 32 years of it, but I think a lot of the younger generation, you know, one of the reasons why some of them don't appreciate history is we're not putting it out there in a way that's fun and, you know, at the same time as being, you know, I mean, I think people should know a lot of this stuff. They need to know about the struggle because it's so easy anymore to be a tattoo artist, you know, and I think that we can't just expect them to, oh, you should know your roots. You know, we need to put it in front of them and say, look, this is interesting stuff.
And maybe not necessarily shame them for it, but kind of educate them.
Yeah, give them the opportunity to look deeper if they want. You know, we've got all kinds of ideas for you know, showing more about history on the Reinventing the Tattoo channel. So yeah, all kinds of ideas, and we'd love to hear some of yours too. I know Rob wants to do a tour. You know, have you guys do a virtual tour of your museum?
Yeah.
Sure. That would be great. I'd love to.
And you know, I mean, even just like, you know, Judy, your shop, I'm sure you've got things, you know, just hanging up on the walls that you've had for 30 years that have incredible stories behind them.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I'll have to prepare to show that.
Yeah, there you go. Do it.
It's not like a museum here.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Anyone who's been in this trade for a few decades has got some interesting stuff stacked up. Hard to avoid.
I put it all up in the attic.
I got some crazy. I got some crazy.
Sorry. Cheers. You guys have a good night.
Yep.
You too. Good talking to you guys. Right on.
Yeah, like I was saying to Judy as well. We're gonna.
I only got the condom lady story, dude. I'm sorry.
Look, like I'm saying, Judy, we'll be doing these events probably like once a month.
Nothing as cool as these guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was telling somebody to shut the hell up in their shop. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't shushing you.
No problem, brother. But yeah, it's like me and Guy were saying, and we're gonna be doing this probably once a month, and I'm gonna be doing it. I'm gonna be inviting people, and we'll take a tour of like the.
Look, there's one of Judy's pieces right there.
A tour of some of Judy's paintings, and just keep inviting people, and maybe like Jim, just keep inviting people, and like I said, I'm not opposed to showing people how to Zoom and introducing people to the forum and format and stuff like that. Real friendly, and it's pretty user friendly. So yeah, I'm open to doing some more of these with you guys. If you guys like.
If I can do it,
I'm always down.
Yeah, what we'll do is we usually do like about an hour, maybe an hour and a half sometimes. Just depends on how the group's going and stuff like that. But yeah, we're gonna do more of these here, and I'll actually hit both of y'all up through Messenger and Facebook and chat and our phone calls and stuff like that. And if you guys have any ideas or anybody that you'd like to have come on Tent Talk and stuff like that, it's pretty much Rockford, Illinois' historical spot to drop talk. So yeah, anything that you guys have that you want to do, we're always open to doing as well.
Right on.
Well, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate you jumping in here, Jim, man. It's really, really nice meeting you, man. I've never met you, but I really enjoyed having you here tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like I said, we'll kick some stories around too during text and stuff like that, and then we'll come back on here and share the stories and stuff.
Sure.
I'm Robert Shaw, and I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And
thank you.
And
like Judy.
Guys, check out Reinventing Live Tattoo, the educational, and get the app. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Night.
Cheers.